Moon Lord Stu never thought of it. His future empire was taken by Sumo so quickly. Even Tum's Star Master couldn't deal with Sumo. Star Lord Tum is a strong man who has stepped into the law with one foot. In the heavenly world, not to mention the famous, but also the little famous. In the realm of the gods where Tum Star is located, Tum Star Master can also be regarded as a small overlord. Master Stu, the son of the new moon, is not easy. I was beaten by him and vomited blood, so I had to withdraw, otherwise I would worry about my fall. He will return the favors of those days to him. At this time, Star Master Tum sent a divine message. He vomited blood from Star Lord Tum. This news, Stu Yuzu still does not know. Who is this son? Moon Lord Stu's eyes flickered. As a law powerhouse comparable to the innate gods, Moon Lord Stu had some guesses almost instantly. What goddess Sheui had thought up, Stuyue Lord thought of more. After all, Sumo's performance is too evil, only think about that. Compared with the reincarnation of Sumo's brain as a giant-level celestial god in the past. The possibility that Sumo is a demon. In the eyes of Lord Stu, it is impossible. He didn't even think about it. No matter who you are, your time has passed. If you dare to stand in my way, you have only one dead end. There was killing intent in the eyes of Stuyue Lord. Boom. On the opposite side, the Dark Moon Goddess had already launched a ferocious attack while he was uneasy. Lord Sty stabilized his mind. As a powerful law powerhouse, his mentality is not covered. Not so easy to break down. Even though the Stu Empire was lost now, he still suppressed his anger with a strong will. Because he knew that anger was useless now, it will only give the Dark Moon Goddess a chance. When I win this war, I will let you know that the times have already changed, and now it is our time. Lord Stuart snorted softly. Then, stopped worrying about the Stu Empire. Instead, he focused all his attention on the war with the Dark Moon Goddess. The psychological quality of this guy is really not covered. Of course, this is also related to his accumulation of virility. For him, the income of a country for 1 or 2 years, or even 10 or 8 years, is nothing. Because he has existed for too long, and the accumulated strength is too strong. Even in the unlikely event that he could not get his kingdom back, it would not be too difficult to cultivate a kingdom again. Will it really give us land? It's great, I didn't expect that I would be able to own my own land too. In the capital of Studi, the voices were full of people. After Sumo occupied the populous imperial capital, a new decree has been issued. Divide the land among numerous civilians. Unsurprisingly, the civilians of the Stu Empire couldn't believe it. Mo, the goddess wants to descend. At this time, the Queen of the Crescent Moon said to Sumo. New Moon Goddess. Sumo pondered for a moment. Queen, go and prepare for the summoning ceremony. Okay. Soon, the Queen of the New Moon went to prepare the summoning ceremony. Soon. In the sky, the passage opened, and 6 goddesses descended one after another. Goddess. Sumo came to the front of the 6 goddesses and said. Mo, we have prepared a holy sea for you. As soon as she saw Sumo, the goddess of the new moon said. The holy sea. Sumo was puzzled. Well, Mo, we all know that you must have been very powerful in the past. You don't have to explain it to us. We have already formed the holy sea for you, and we have gathered you 1,000,000 clerics, 500,000 temple knights, and more. There are tens of thousands of magicians. Goddess Sheui stepped forward, winked at Sumo, and said. Past? Sumo looked at the other goddesses. The other goddesses also nodded to Sumo encouragingly. Look at the appearance of these 6 goddesses. Sumo finally understood what they had been thinking about before. The 6 goddesses. It seems that they all made up his brain into a reincarnation of a powerful god in the past. Mo, you can take a new god's name, and we will help you turn the Stu Empire into your kingdom. The Holy Moon Goddess also spoke, her voice and demeanor seemed very gentle. Mo, don't worry, Stuyue can't beat the Dark Moon. When Dark Moon succeeds, we will help you together. First, guard this country until you return to the heaven and have the divine light. The goddess of the morning moon also spoke. Well, we'll all help you, Mo. The Silver Moon Goddess and the others also spoke one after another. After the 6 goddesses finished speaking, they all looked at Sumo brightly. A gesture of wanting to help Sumo to the end. Ding. You have successfully eaten the soft rice of the new moon goddess. The reward exceeds the system level, and the highest level reward is given, 5 bottles of advanced magic potions, and 10 advanced skill books. Ding. You have successfully eaten the soft meal of the goddess Sheui. The reward exceeds the system level, and the highest level reward is given: 5 bottles of high-level fighting spirit potions, and 30 intermediate skill books. Ding! You have successfully eaten the soft meal of the Silver Moon Goddess. The reward exceeds the system level. The highest level reward is not enough, and the middle and low level rewards will be used to make up. Ding! Ding! You have successfully eaten the soft meal of the Holy Moon Goddess. The system reward has been cleared, and the system will replenish the reward after the next refresh. At this time, on the villain panel, a system prompt appeared one after another. This system is a silver-level soft rice eating system that Sumo had obtained before. Sumo thought this system was fun, so he spent 500 villain points to compile it. Unexpectedly, the remarks of the 6 goddesses inspired the rewards of the soft rice system. This is also considered a soft meal, Sumo thought. In a way, it counts. What is interesting? The level of this system is only silver, which is too low. This time Sumo's soft rice targets are too powerful, all of them are goddesses. 6 rewards came down. The rewards in the system were actually emptied. No, the reward will be emptied after 4 times. The last 2 rewards will not be given until the next refresh. The silver level small system is really unplayable. I knew earlier. First upgrade this system to the gold level, and you can also get a wave of rewards. Although it has been emptied, this wave of rewards is more than enough to create a sanctuary. These gold fingers, which are rewarded according to the strength level of contact, can be upgraded by some levels. Sumo thought. Some gold fingers are growth type and will reward you gradually. There are also some gold fingers, depending on what level of power you have access to. Such as picking up attribute system. For example, the work check-in system. Now that Sumo has been upgraded to the gold level, if Sumo returns to the abyss and continues to be a demon, the rewards of this system will still not be able to be given. It was swept away by Sumo. Another example, this time the system. Eat soft rice. From this look, the stronger the target who eats soft rice, the more rewards will be given. This time, the 4 rewards will be emptied directly. This kind of gold finger is too easy for Sumo to reach the upper limit of gold finger. It is possible to collect some and upgrade to the gold level or above. There is no need to pay any price to clear the reward. Then, it can be used to manufacture sanctuaries, demigods, and even false gods in batches. Not bad. Ink? The voice of the new moon goddess sounded. Because Sumo was looking at the system just now, he was in a daze. Sumo came back to his senses and looked at the goddesses sincerely. Thank you. The brain supplement of the 6 goddesses, plus the help, saved Sumo a lot of things. Sumo doesn't need to explain herself. At the same time, Sumo also got a legitimate opportunity to enter the heaven. No need to thank you, you have helped us so much. Seeing Sumo's attitude, Shui was surprised to accept their help, and smiled. The other goddesses also spoke up one by one. The voices of the goddesses are beautiful and melodious. For a while, there was a feeling of yin-yin yan-yan. God's name. Let's call it Eternal God, but I still need some time before I can return to the heaven. Sumo said. He still used the name of the god that he got in the Lord system. Eternal God. He can now go to heaven, but only as a son. If you want to disguise the identity of a celestial god to enter the celestial world, a crucial step is required. That is the body of God. His divine power has been able to disguise perfectly. Light and dark divine power, change the attributes, it is the authentic sacred attribute. No one can tell the difference, but Sumo's current body is still the body of a demon. This is why, during the battle, Sumo gave him the power of light and darkness, in a way equivalent to the power that God gave to the sun and the maiden. His divine body cannot be revealed easily, otherwise it will be revealed. Therefore, Sumo also needs to turn the divine body into a light and dark divine body. Then, he can walk in the heavens with integrity. Eternal God. The 6 goddesses whispered Sumo's divine name and looked at each other. God's name, very able to explain the problem. Like them, they live on the moon, and an important component of divine power is the special energy born on the moon. Therefore, they are the 7 goddesses of the moon. And like Holden, they have one thing in common, that is, they live on the stars. They are star gods. It uses the energy of different stars. The name of Sumo is not easy to hear, Eternal God. Time, space. Several goddesses instantly think of it. Eternity, related to time, is also related to space. Such a god's name is majestic, and it is not something that ordinary gods can take. There are also people who take the name of the gods, But if they can't control it, they may make all kinds of jokes. It even affects my own growth. Vera, I said that he was definitely not simple before, eternal. Such a god's name is not something that ordinary gods can take. I guess the power he controlled before must be related to time and space. It should be space, it is almost impossible to control time. In short, it's very powerful. Okay, let's send the personnel over, and while the Stu Moon Lord is still fighting against the Dark Moon, spread the doctrine first. After several goddesses returned to the heaven, they began to make up their minds again. The brain supplements of several goddesses perfectly solved the problem of identity for Sumo. The current Sumo, although not yet able to walk in the celestial world as a god of the celestial world. But it has been possible to open up a kingdom on the continent of the gods. After several goddesses returned to the heaven, Sumo was ready to transform the Stu Empire into his own kingdom. Holy Son, on behalf of the royal family, I am willing to convert to the eternal God and enshrine the eternal God as the Empire, the only God. Stuart Capital. In the palace, a beautiful girl about 18 years old, dressed in gorgeous clothes, respectfully said to Sumo. This girl is a princess of the royal family of the Stu Empire. Princess Anne. After King Stu was taken down, all the priests who originally belonged to Lord Stu have been imprisoned. Separated by a special magic circle. As for the members of the Stu royal family, they were also imprisoned. Instead of cleaning out the Stu royals, Sumo gave them options. The old emperor of the Stu Empire still has some hesitations. Because he feared that Stuart Moon would come back. Once he made a choice now, if the Stu Moon Lord recaptured the Stu Empire, his life would be difficult. The royal family might be abolished. Seeing that Emperor Stu hesitated, Queen Crescent was ready to clean up the entire Stu royal family. The Queen of the Crescent Moon is a little fangirl in front of Sumo. She acted very decisively, especially when it comes to Sumo's interests. Seeing that the royal family was facing extinction, Princess Anne ran out and surrendered to Sumo. Can you represent the entire royal family? Seeing that the Queen of the Crescent Moon did not respond to Princess Anne's intentions, Sumo said. Yes, please give me a few days, I will give a satisfactory answer. Princess Anne said. Sumo looked at her calmly for a while. Then, he agreed. Thank you, Holy Son, Princess Anne said gratefully. Since then, the Stu Empire will be renamed the Eternal Empire. I am the lord of the country. If you do well, you can be the queen. Sumo said lightly. The Eternal Empire. Okay, the lord. Princess Anne responded quickly, said. Sumo was going to borrow the Queen of the Crescent Moon from the goddess of the Crescent Moon. However, the Queen of the Crescent Moon has always been in the kingdom of the Crescent Moon, and Sumo is constantly improving her strength. After the Queen of the Crescent Moon, her own combat power is more important. Governing the country will not be the main thing for Queen Crescent Moon. As a result, the Stu Empire was renamed the Eternal Empire by Sumo. In order to prove herself, Princess Anne started a series of big moves. She convened all the ministers and unified the understanding. Some hesitant ministers were directly removed from their positions. At the same time, a large number of people were dispatched to implement the new policy promulgated by Sumo. There was also a large-scale attack on some devout followers of the Lord Stu. Arrest, 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 arrest. With the cooperation of Princess Anne, the Eternal Empire is getting rid of the traces of Moon Lord Stu at an unprecedented speed. At the same time, the members of the Holy See formed by the 6 goddesses for Sumo have also entered the Eternal Empire in large numbers. A large number of temple knights stationed in various cities to maintain order. Based on these clergy, an Eternal Holy See can be quickly formed. These things do not need Sumo to worry too much. Currently managed by the Queen of the Crescent Moon for Sumo. Next, it is a matter of rebuilding the temple of the Eternal God. It's just that Sumo is not ready to repair the temple. Instead, prepare to use the Tree of Miracles in the Lord system. The efficiency of the Tree of Miracles in collecting beliefs is higher than that of the temple. This thing can continue to upgrade in the future. The Tree of Miracles itself can act as a totem effect. The effect of the totem itself is actually similar to that of the temple. However, there are some differences in appearance and function. The function of the temple is more perfect. It can not only be used to collect beliefs, but also provide a place for God and believers to communicate and communicate. At the same time, it can also store energy, which can be used for defense or attack. It is a very perfect divine power building that integrates offense and defense. In contrast, the role of the totem is much smaller, just like an altar. However, the Tree of Miracles in the Lord system is somewhat different from the pure totem. The Tree of Miracles can collect beliefs, and can also launch some blessing skills on nearby believers. At the same time, the Tree of Miracles can be continuously upgraded with more functions. To know, the current Lord system is still at the gold level. If the Lord system is upgraded to the legendary level, the epic level, or even a higher level, the Tree of Miracles can also be continuously upgraded. After upgrading, the Tree of Miracles will also have the ability to store energy, defense, or attack. Anyway, Sumo doesn't have his own divine light now, so it's very inconvenient to use the temple. Building a temple takes too long. Without divine light, it is not very good to rely on the temple to collect beliefs. So, Sumo is going to give it a try and see if he can plant a Tree of Miracles in the Stu Empire. If you can use the Tree of Miracles to gather faith after planting, that would be great. You can also plant 16. Sumo whispers. In the gold level Lord system, a total of 20 miracle trees can be planted. Sumo has planted 4 trees in the wild tree and can plant 16 more. So, Sumo was planted. The location of the first Tree of Miracles was chosen at the Holy See headquarters of the Stu Empire. Soon, Sumo planted the seeds. Your Tree of Miracles triggers the critical strike effect, growth speed +2, functional effect *2. On the villain panel, a prompt appears. The epic crit talent is really useful, and it can be crit harvested. Sumo took a look and saw that the previous harvest of the soft rice system was also critly hit by the crit talent. Got double the harvest. It's not bad, double the harvest, double the happiness. The Tree of Miracles began to grow rapidly. Sumo invested a lot of gold coins for the accelerated growth of the Tree of Miracles, plus the 2x growth rate provided by the crit talent. Soon, the Tree of Miracles grew to a height of tens of meters. Wow! In Studi capital, many people saw the rapidly growing miracle tree and exclaimed, wow! In their eyes, the rapid growth of the Tree of Miracles is almost a miracle. The Tree of Miracles grows very fast. Under the investment of Sumo regardless of gold coins, this Tree of Miracles is still growing. Not only does it grow taller, but the trunk also becomes thicker. At the original headquarters of the Holy See of Stu, many people came to watch. Soon, the Tree of Miracles grew to more than 100 meters high. This hasn't stopped, it's still going on. Sumo has invested tens of thousands of gold coins so far. It is equivalent to using hundreds of millions to accelerate the growth of the Tree of Miracles. Such an investment is worth it. The rapid growth of the Tree of Miracles also quickly harvested the first batch of devout believers. Originally, the new decree issued by Sumo had already won the support of the people. Now, behold such a miracle. Many ordinary people simply forgot Moon Lord Stu into the sky. After more than an hour, finally, the Tree of Miracles stopped growing. At this time, the Tree of Miracles has grown to a height of more than 300 meters. In the Stu Empire, this Tree of Miracles is also a behemoth. It can be seen from far away. The Tree of Miracles is not only tall, but also has a very wide canopy. In the royal capital, many people felt very miraculous after seeing it, and more people began to come to the place where the Tree of Miracles was located. Seeing that there are a large number of people around the Tree of Miracles, with the thought, Sumo invested a lot of divine power and consumed a lot of gold coins. Through the Tree of Miracles, he launched a wide range of blessings. Wow, great, my lung disease is cured. Blessed by the gods. Around the Tree of Miracles, a lot of exclamations sounded. The blessing launched through the Tree of Miracles has a good effect. In itself, this Tree of Miracles can consume gold coins to activate blessings. Sumo also put in divine power. So, for a while, many people in the Stu Empire cheered. Begin chanting the hymn of the eternal God. Seeing that the effect of the Tree of Miracles is so good. After Sumo let a few angels sit in the capital of Studi, he took a flying ship to several other large cities in the Stu Empire. As a small empire, the Stu Empire has a much larger population than the Crescent Kingdom. The Kingdom of the Seven Goddesses of the Moon has a population of about 100 million. The population of the Stu Empire was much larger, reaching more than 800 million. With such a large population, if all of them can be converted into believers, the income is still considerable. As for the country on the wild continent, Sumo will naturally keep it, and let it continue to develop. He wasn't going to send the elves over. It is not impossible to rule mankind with elves, but there are many hidden dangers. The continent of the gods has developed to the present, and the race is relatively single, and it has completely become the world of human beings. Some other races are basically squeezed to the fringes. In the human kingdom, apart from slaves, there are basically no other races. Sending elves over hastily will cause some problems. In this way, it took about a day for Sumo to plant the remaining miracle trees in the larger cities of the Stu Empire. When the villain value is enough, Sumo is going to upgrade the Lord system next. Upgrade to the legendary level first. This will allow more trees of miracles to be planted. These trees of miracles can also be upgraded to higher levels and have more skills. Soon, Sumo discovered that the tree of miracles began to collect beliefs continuously. Works well. In the next few days, every day, the goddess of the new moon will tell the progress of the battle of gods. The competition between the dark moon goddess and the Stu Moon Lord is getting more and more intense. Up to now, the two sides have been fighting for more than 10 days at the level of law, and there is still no final outcome. In the continent of the gods, the expansion of the Dark Moon Kingdom has been initially completed. Among the 7 goddesses of the moon, several other kingdoms have also completed their expansion one after another. Sumo is more of the Eternal Empire these days. The other protagonists and villains in the Eternal Empire run about the same. Occasionally, I can catch 1 or 2 protagonists. Tomorrow is the end of the month. At this time, the time has come to the end of the 3rd month of the game. Before I knew it, this confrontation game had been going on for 3 months. The forum was lively again. This time, the main topic on the forum is the ranking list that will be refreshed tomorrow morning. Needless to say, in addition to the protagonist list, most of them will be dominated by the Earl of Moshi Land again. Yeah, this time in the Battle of the Stu Empire, he killed so many protagonists, and there was even a gold-level protagonist among them. I hope there will be more powerful protagonists, otherwise we really have no hope. On the protagonist forum, the protagonists talked a lot. Many protagonists feel stressed. The pressure mainly comes from the Earl of Moishi, whose strength makes all the protagonists feel like their swords are hanging on top. Especially some bronze and silver protagonists. In contrast, the gold-level protagonist is more confident. Except those 2 gold emulator protagonists. A night passed quickly. The next morning, many protagonists and villains got up early. At 8 o'clock, the leaderboard is refreshed on time. The protagonists first look at the protagonist list. Then I saw that the number 1 protagonist on the list of protagonists was still the protagonist of the Batum Empire, Tien Luck. Wow! Tianyun's record has broken 100, amazing. Tianyan is about to become a legendary protagonist, right? Finally a protagonist with a record of over 100. When the protagonists found out that Tianyun's record actually broke 100, they all started to discuss it. In the past few months, the villain camp has occupied a particularly large advantage as a whole. This can be seen from the number of protagonists and villains with a record of breaking 10. On the record list, the number of villains with a record of breaking 10 far exceeds the number of protagonists. Much more than that. The protagonists are generally at an extreme disadvantage. Plus, Sumo is so overpowering that many protagonists have a feeling of being out of breath and unable to breathe. Now, Tianyun's record has broken through 100, and finally the protagonists have regained some confidence. Although they themselves are rubbish. However, finally there is a protagonist who is a little bit more arrogant. Haha. I might as well tell you that Tianyan is only a few thousand less than the protagonist's value, and you can upgrade to the legendary level. When Tianyan takes care of the remaining villains in the Batum Empire, and then sweeps the surrounding villains, it will be appropriate. The legendary protagonist. At this time, the protagonist of the Baitine Empire revealed a message. I heard that the big boss of Tianyan has already controlled most of the power of the Biting Empire. The Biting Empire is a behemoth. Once Tianyan completely controls the Biting Empire, it will really take off. Haha, we finally have a protagonist who can compete with the Earl of the Blackstone territory. Come on everyone, in a few months, it's time for our full-scale counter-offensive. The news of this protagonist has encouraged the other protagonists. Excited one by one. They seem to have seen, a few months later, the moment when the protagonist launched a counterattack against the villains. After these protagonists watched Tianyan, they turned to the protagonists behind. On the protagonist list, the protagonists have made a lot of progress in this issue. There are more protagonists, and the record has broken 10. Many gold-level protagonists who had not shown themselves in the last month have also appeared one after another. This ranking list should be ranked based on various factors such as record, luck, protagonist strength, protagonist power, protagonist level, etc. Generally speaking, the more villains a protagonist kills and the higher the level, the easier it will be for him to be on the list. Like the legendary protagonist who has been stubborn, he has not yet made the list. Even if his own strength is ahead of everyone. It has also not shown mountains or dewed water. Even the other protagonists don't even know there is actually a legendary protagonist at the beginning. This guy is super tough. Everyone, look at the villain rankings. Among the many protagonists, one by one, they were excited about Tianyun's record. A protagonist shouted. Only then did the other protagonists flock to the villain rankings. There is basically no suspense in the villain rankings. It must be the Earl of Moshi Land who dominates the ranking. Yeah, no suspense. Some protagonists communicated in the group. It's not that they don't pay attention to the list of villains, but they feel that there is no suspense in this list. After all, who can beat Sumo? Especially after the First World War of the Stu Empire, Sumo solved so many protagonists and villains. Some protagonists knew the result long ago and were reluctant to watch it. There are still many people who are paying attention. A protagonist casually opened the villain leaderboard. At first glance, the number one villain is still Phantom. Looking at it again, the record list and luck list are still Phantom. Sure enough, I knew it was, the protagonist thought. His eyes swept across the information behind. I don't know what he saw, but his eyes were condensed. I'm going. The protagonist almost jumped up. Eyeballs widened. How is it possible that he has become an epic villain? The protagonist couldn't believe his eyes. He rubbed his eyes, looked and looked. No matter how he rubs or looks at it, Sumo's protagonist level column is always epic villain. Epic villain, hiss. The protagonist took a deep breath. His level is not low, and he was a gold level protagonist from the beginning. Up to now, he has also killed more than 10 villains and gained more than 1,000 protagonist points. But it is difficult to upgrade the legendary protagonist. That requires 50,000 protagonist points. How can it be so easy? Sumo actually gave them away. That is, they can use the protagonist to feed the villain, and then kill the villain who feeds fat, so as to increase their harvest. But this method, not everyone can operate. The reason is simple. Many protagonists and villains will not cooperate with you. Anyway, they are all about to die. You let him kill the villain, but he doesn't. If you grab his hand and kill him, that's what you kill. Sumo is able to do this because of his succubus eyes, which can plant magic seeds. Through the illusion, these protagonists and villains can cooperate obediently. Gold level protagonist, in fact, the growth rate is not slow. After a few more months of growth, this gold level protagonist will be sure to become a sanctuary, or even a demigod. It is very easy for a gold level protagonist to become a demigod. It's not too difficult to become a god, but it won't be as fast as the legendary Goldfinger. After he becomes a demigod, he can become a legendary protagonist by hunting down a large number of villains. As for the strongest epic protagonist, he hasn't thought about it yet. But what? In just 3 short months, the Earl of Moshi Land has actually become an epic villain. How is it possible? Where did he get so many villains? This gold-level protagonist is still a little reluctant to believe. It's so amazing. 500,000 villains worth awe. It took 3 months to get it all together. How is this possible? Hey, the Earl of Moshi Land has actually become an epic villain? 2 FCK scary. Look at his record, it's almost 300. I'm going. God, how did he do it? This FCK is really invincible. Mom, what are we going to do with this? On the protagonist forum, all the protagonists exclaimed. Epic villain, how is it possible? Hundreds of simulator protagonists are dumbfounded and sluggish one by one. There was still some excitement in this group just now. The atmosphere was a little more relaxed and pleasant. But after seeing that Sumo has become an epic villain, hundreds of simulator protagonists, one by one, feel a little breathless. It was as if there was a mountain of 100 million hooks pressing down on them. Epic villain. His development is so fast. On the continent of the gods, the Super Go legendary protagonist is also paying attention to the new ranking list. As the legendary protagonist at the beginning, this guy's psychological advantage is actually huge. For the first month, seeing Sumo take off so fast, this guy thought it was funny. The second month, seeing Sumo become a legendary villain, the guy felt a certain threat, but didn't care too much. After all, he is also a legendary protagonist. Until now, the third month. What a surprise, Sumo became an epic villain in one fell swoop. In terms of level, it far exceeds him. This means that Sumo probably already has an epic Goldfinger. Epic Goldfinger. What a bug, his legendary Goldfinger is amazing. At this moment, even this superb legendary protagonist felt a deep sense of oppression. Epic. Poof, on the other side, a gold-level villain who was drinking water spit out a mouthful of water. This Earl of Moshi Land is evil. Look, he's no longer called the Earl of Moshi Land. A group with a large number of gold-level villains is also discussing this matter. When other villains saw the words, epic villain, they were shocked. There are also sharp-eyed villains who see more. For example, Sumo's current identity is not the Earl of Moshi Land. Rather, the Eternal King. Behind the Eternal Lord, there is still an identity hanging. That's the Duke of Blackstone. Yep, the Queen of the Crescent directly referred Sumo to the Duke. This also led to a change in Sumo's identity. Eternal Lord. What is this identity? A gold-level villain is puzzled. It should be the Stu Empire that he defeated, and he has taken the Stu Empire back. In the continent of the gods, if you want to have a kingdom, you must have the support of gods behind it. I don't know which god's thigh he has embraced. No matter which one, he is now far ahead of us. We have to speed up, he can even deal with villains. The many gold-level villains in this group also felt a lot of pressure. Many of them started out as gold-level villains. But from the first month to the present, Sumo suppressed them to the end. No villain can steal Sumo's limelight. Even this month, a villain made a big move and successfully mastered the power of the kingdom. But this kind of action, compared with the movement made by Sumo, is like a pediatrician. I really don't understand. How could the Earl of Moshi Land be able to collect 500,000 villains so quickly? Yeah, with more than 200 records, how can you have 500,000 villains? I guess his legendary gold finger can greatly increase the value of the villain. And this gold finger? Yes, my gold finger is a silver level boosting system, and after reaching the gold level, I can boost the main character's value reward. Is he so arrogant? On the Protagonist forum, a large number of protagonists are still discussing there. After the initial shock, these protagonists also began to discuss some issues they did not understand. For example, why did Sumo have 500,000 villains so quickly? Naturally, there is more than one protagonist with the critical strike and augmentation type gold finger. Although there are not many high-level protagonists, there are still many bronze and silver-level protagonists with this kind of gold finger. Before, there were some protagonists guessing that it should be the gold finger of the crit villain value. But there was no widespread discussion at the time. Now, seeing Sumo go epic so quickly, in addition to being shocked, there was also a lot of discussion about how Sumo became a historical 11-level villain. Wow! Why don't I have such a gold finger, which can crit the protagonist and the villain? With this gold finger alone, there is no strong enough strength, and there is no way to grow so fast. Yeah. I now suspect that the Earl of the Blackstone territory has many types of gold fingers. You think, he can exert such a terrifying power with the power of God. Didn't you notice that now the Earl of Blackstone is no longer called the Earl, but the Duke? There is another Eternal King. What is this? I guess it should be the Stu Empire. Hey, he has taken the Stu Empire as his own. Too fierce, an empire. Luo on the Protagonist forum, the protagonists were stimulated one by one, and the mood of the discussion was high. This big discussion lasted for a long time. At the same time, in the renamed Eternal Empire, Sumo is sitting there watching the leaderboard. This month, the villains have gained even more, and many protagonists have risen. After glancing at the general situation, Sumo looked at the identity behind his name. Eternal Lord. Sumo whispers. This identity is also updated in real time. Now, the Eternal God he made has not been recognized. It's normal. Although Sumo can rely on the Tree of Miracles to collect beliefs. However, that is still his demonic side. He has not yet officially entered the heavenly realm, walking as a deity in the heavenly realm. Sumo estimated that once he turned his god body into a light and dark god body. Then enter the heaven, and successfully obtain a small vest of a heaven god. On the villain panel in this ranking, his identity is likely to become Eternal God. After swiping, Sumo received the reward of villain value. You get the first place in the villain ranking for 3 consecutive months, the reward is plus 10%, you get 1540 villain value and 110 luck. You won the first place in the record list for 3 consecutive months, the reward is plus 10%, and you get 220 villain value. On the villain panel, prompts appear one after another. This wave of harvest is not bad. Dominate the list for 3 consecutive months, and there is a 10% bonus. Not bad. Your reward triggers a crit, you get 16,940 villain value, 1210 luck. Your reward triggers a critical strike, and you gain 2,420 villain points. At this time, on the villain panel, the crit talent prompt appeared again. This wave of crit is super cool. After the crit talent is upgraded to the epic level, the crit against the villain value should be 5 to 25 times. The minimum is 5 times and the maximum is 25 times. Too high multiples are not particularly common. But 10 times the crit is very common. Originally this wave, only the 1980 villain value reward. After a wave of critical strikes, Sumo actually gained more than 20,000 villain points in this wave. It's cool. After looking at his gold finger, Sumo pondered for a while, ready to keep it. Let's talk about the upgrade of the Lord system. If you use the soft rice system, if you need it, you can upgrade it later. After receiving the reward, Sumo continued to sit in the Eternal Empire. For the time being, he is not ready to leave. We'll talk about it after the Dark Moon Goddess's divine battle is over. According to Sumo's estimate, it should be a few days away. At this time, the discussion about Sumo was still going on the forum. In this wave, Sumo became an epic villain, which really scared a lot of people. The protagonist and the villain were all terrified. Now, it's not just the main character who is afraid of Sumo. The villain is also afraid of Sumo, because Sumo not only kills the protagonist, but also the villain. Wherever he went, nothing could grow. Now you can run away with peace of mind. Well, if we go to another kingdom, it will be much harder than the protagonist. Fortunately, I got a suitable gold finger. There's no way, at least you can take some of your subordinates, let's develop like the protagonists. Damn it. Why can't we travel farther away from the Earl of the Blackstone land? In a villain group, many villains who are close to the Eternal Empire are already discussing to escape. The villain does not have the freedom of the protagonist. Many villains, the personal strength at the beginning, is actually very general. But they have enormous power and identity. This is of course important. The villain doesn't mean to run away. They were nobles in one kingdom and went to another kingdom, but no one recognized them. It is also impossible for them to bring too many soldiers, otherwise, people will think that you are going to cause trouble. But now, these villains are frightened and can only escape. And on the protagonist forum, another topic soon attracted a lot of discussions from the protagonist. This topic was derived from some news from the New Moon Kingdom at the beginning. Tell me, did the Earl of Moshi Land travel in advance? This is the title of one of the hottest posts. There are already a large number of protagonists participating in the discussion. Although Sumo's identity has changed, some protagonists still like to call him the Earl of the Blackstone Land. According to some information from the protagonist and villain of the New Moon Kingdom, before the game started, the Earl of the Blackstone Land made a lot of inventions, such as cement, newspapers, soap, glass, etc. I feel very suspicious. I feel the same way, and he is so unreasonable. Does anyone know how strong the Earl of the Moishi Land is? Without the power of God? Who knows, it's just right to be strong. F***ck, after hearing what you said, I feel that the Earl of Moishi Land may have crossed before us. Not necessarily, if you crossed earlier, it wouldn't be a bug? On the protagonist forum, this topic quickly attracted a large number of people to participate. Some protagonists listed all kinds of abnormalities of Sumo. Let some protagonists think that Sumo may have crossed in advance. There are also protagonists who think it is unlikely. After all, the information they got was everyone who traveled through at the same time. Such an obvious bug, if it exists, it is impossible not to fix it. Some people think it is possible. Some people think it is unlikely. Discussions came and went, and there was no clear conclusion. But all the protagonists have reached a consensus. Once we are strong, we must be the first to eradicate the Earl of the Blackstone Land. That is for sure. The protagonists are unified in understanding, and one by one will get rid of Sumo as the most urgent goal. Boom, in the heavens, above the third month, the battle is still going on. I didn't expect the Dark Moon Goddess to become so strong, and after fighting with Stuyue for so long, there is still no winner. Yeah, but if she keeps fighting like this, her strength will not be able to keep up. Her accumulation is still too little, she is too young, she should have accumulated a few more years before challenging Lord Stu. Outside the third month, in the dark, some gods are watching this battle. These gods are strong and weak. Watching the battles of the powerhouses will help them a lot. HMPH, the Dark Moon Goddess is bound to lose. If you want to win the Stu Moon Lord, you can only dream. In one place, a humming sounded. The master who hummed softly had played with Sumo twice. He is the god of the Wrath Kingdom to the west of the Dark Moon Kingdom. Beside him, there are some gods. These guys are all gods who were taken away by Sumo. Their only hope now is on Lord Stu. Let them descend on their own, they would never dare. Who dares to do this? First, the Star Master of Hook was blown up. Immediately afterwards, the second-class Star Master Tum came, and Sumo vomited blood again. If he hadn't used his whole cards and flashed fast, Star Master Tum would have to explain it. Although Star Lord Thumb ran away, 3 more gods were blown up the second time. Being bombed in the world of gods is too wrong in the eyes of these gods. Such a fierce Sumo, how dare these gods come again? Now, these gods who have been taken away by Sumo have come to guard them in the 3rd month. Prepare to wait for Stu Yuzu to win, and then go down with Stu Yuzu to solve Sumo. Not all gods are here. For example, the god of the Hunhi Kingdom who was crushed by Sumo, this guy has given up treatment. Incarnated into a big resentment, and sullenly locked himself in the kingdom of God. He has begun to recultivate his kingdom on the wild continent. The star god Horton and the god of the Bohemia Kingdom did not come either. They also did not hold out much hope. Of course, they might have sent an angel to watch it secretly. If the Moon Lord Stuart wins, they may still show up. This war has attracted a lot of attention. Dark Moon Goddess, you are going to lose. At this time, above the 3rd month, in the law level, the voice of Lord Stu rang out. The current Moon Lord Stu is already in full swing. He has accumulated strong advantages, and in this special confrontation, he has begun to exert his advantages. If the Dark Moon Goddess continued to fight with him, she would definitely not be able to fight him. The Dark Moon Goddess's face was cold, and she was not affected by the Stu Moon Master. In this battle, she had a great grasp, but she still underestimated the old-fashioned law powerhouse Stu Yuzu. Moon Lord Stu has been the Moon Lord of the 3rd month for too long, and the accumulation is extremely strong. Unless the Dark Moon Goddess fights to defeat him in one fell swoop. Otherwise, Moon Lord Stu will always be able to make a comeback with a more powerful force. On several occasions, the Dark Moon Goddess was close to victory. But they were all counterattacked by Stu Yue Lord. She felt that with her current strength, she was still a little short of it. In fact, at one point it was close to victory. Almost completely drove away the Lord Stu from the law level of the 3rd month. But Moon Lord Stu did not know where to get a drop of special divine power, and once again suppressed the Dark Moon Goddess back. This also left the Dark Moon Goddess helpless. Now, Lord Stu has successfully turned this battle into a fight. Although the Dark Moon Goddess has repeatedly gained the upper hand, as long as there is no way to defeat the Moon Lord Stu with one blow, she can only continue to fight for consumption. As long as it is exhausted, the final victor of the war must belong to Lord Stu. This process will take a long time. It could be months, it could even be years. It just depends on when the power of the Dark Moon Goddess will be exhausted. Once her powers are exhausted, it's time for her to fail. Dark Moon seems to be struggling a bit. She can't completely defeat Moon Lord Stu at one time. If we knew earlier, we would have borrowed some more divine power from her. It's useless. Stu Moon Lord's accumulation is too strong. Our combined strength may not be as good as Stu Moon Lord. Then what? Don't worry, Dark Moon may have a solution. Above the 3rd month, the new Moon Goddess and the others are also watching this war. They saw the current situation of the Dark Moon Goddess. I can also see the style of Stu Yueju's play. Although they have not yet come into contact with the law, the general situation of the battle can still be seen. The goddesses have some concerns, however, they could not interfere in this battle at all. High in the sky, the battle continued for a few more hours. Sudden. In front of the Dark Moon Goddess, there is a darkness. She launched another ferocious attack. It was seen that the law level of the 3rd month, the imprint of Lord Stu, was being cleared quickly. This wave is more ferocious than before. In a short period of time, more than 90% of the imprints left by Moon Lord Stu on the law level of the 3rd month were removed. Seems to be completely cleaned up. Sudden. Lord Stuart again used that drop of divine power that he didn't know where he got it from. All of a sudden, he stabilized his position. Dark Moon, as I said, you can't win. Lord Stuart let out a loud laugh. Now, he has already temporarily cleared the affairs of the Stu Empire from his memory. This is to avoid affecting this battle. He has put his heart and soul into this battle. The same is true for the Dark Moon Goddess on the opposite side. Even the Dark Moon Goddess has never communicated with other goddesses. The face of the dark moon goddess still did not change much. But if you look closely, there is still a hint of helplessness in her expression. It's been like this several times. I was about to win, but I was stabilized by Stuyue Lord again. If you do this once, it will consume a lot. Timing is also very important. Lord Stuart has already started a counter-offensive. In this way, if she wants to win this battle, it will become more difficult than she expected. That drop of divine power. The dark moon goddess is a little troubled by that drop of divine power of Stuyue Lord. Only one drop, but want to consume it, don't know how long it will take. Because Lord Stuyue only uses that drop of divine power at the most critical time as the last line of defense. The consumption is not large, but the effect is very good. By the way, that drop of divine power he gave me. At this time, the dark moon goddess remembered the drop of divine power that Sumo gave her. That drop of divine power, the dark moon goddess feels very advanced. Also very mysterious. The permission to use, Sumo has given her. Maybe, give it a try. Thought here. The dark moon goddess drove that drop of divine power. Lord Stuart is already re-attacking. It's now. The dark moon goddess suddenly drove her divine power, slammed it, and launched an impact. On the opposite side, Moon Lord Stu noticed it and quickly drove the drop of divine power he possessed. Two special forces collided at the level of law. Throughout the third month, there seemed to be the sound of strings plucking. How is it possible? Then, the terrified voice of Lord Stu. Because, after the goddess of the dark moon drove the drop of divine power given by Sumo, the imprint of Moon Lord Stu on the level of the law of the third month was actually swept away. How terrified the Moon Lord Stu was, and how surprised the dark moon goddess was. She didn't expect that the magical power that Sumo gave her would actually work so well. If you use it from the beginning, maybe you won't have to fight for so long. Although the dark moon goddess was surprised, she did not waste time. She took advantage of the victory to chase, and completely drove Moon Lord Stu out of the law of the third month. Then, he quickly stamped his mark on it, poof. At the same time that the Moon Lord of the third month was driven out of the law level, he was also hit hard. Sumo's drop of divine power is too overbearing. In addition, after being driven out of the law level, the third Moon Lord was also attacked. Therefore, in the third month, the Moon Lord vomited out a mouthful of blood. Master Stu is out. Outside, when Lord Stu was driven out of the law plane of the third month, other gods saw him. However, it was Lord Stu who saw blood vomiting. Stu Yuzu actually vomited blood. Many gods watching the battle looked at each other, and they all saw incredible things in the eyes of the other party. Judging from the current battle situation, Lord Stu has been kicked out. Not only was he kicked out, but it looked like he was seriously injured, and he actually vomited blood. Dark Moon, don't think about it. Although he vomited blood, Lord Stuyue pounced again like a wounded beast. Then, the third month trembled. Immediately afterwards, a cold moonlight erupted violently. PFF'd, Lord Stuyue vomited blood and flew out backwards. Boom! Lord Stuyue flew far away, crashing heavily on a barren star, smashing the huge barren star into pieces. At the same time, the third month trembled again. The beautiful figure of the goddess of the dark moon appeared at the height of the third moon. With a slight pressure on her hand, the movements of the whole third month slowly descended. She has become a Moon Lord, god. She defeated Stu Moon Lord. The gods watching the battle made an incredible sound. The goddess of the dark moon successfully became the moon master of the third month. Take control of this moon that ranks third in size in the heavens. How is this possible? Impossible. How could she defeat Lord Stu? Hey, it's impossible. At the time of the shock of many watching gods. On the other side, several gods who pin all their hopes on Lord Stuyue made unbelievable voices one by one. They are unwilling to believe their own eyes. I don't want to believe that the dark moon goddess actually defeated the powerful Stu Moon Lord and became the third Moon Lord. Doesn't this mean their last hope has been dashed? The dark moon goddess is so powerful, how could she give Moon Lord Stu a chance to take back her kingdom? The feeling of shattering hope is unpleasant. These gods, for a while, are unwilling to accept the reality. Dark Moon succeeded. Above the third month, the goddess of the new moon and the others all rejoiced. Dark Moon. The 6 goddesses soon flew not far from the dark moon. They didn't get too close, because the dark moon goddess at this time was still consolidating and deepening the Moon Lord's mark. From a distance, the dark moon now gives people the feeling that she is the moon. The control of this moon has been completely seized by her. Puff. The other side. The Moon Lord Stu, who smashed the desolate star, finally stabilized his body. In his body, chi and blood surged, and there were no small wounds in his body. Damn it. Luo Lord Stuart spit out another mouthful of blood. If he hadn't made that last comeback, the injury wouldn't have been this serious. But after he was driven out of the law level of the 3rd month by the goddess of the dark moon in one fell swoop, he counterattacked extremely unwillingly, causing him to suffer heavy losses. Seeing that the 3rd month has been controlled by the dark moon goddess, Moon Lord Stu is extremely unwilling. However, it is useless to be unwilling, he has failed. Also got some injuries. Under the serious injury, his combat power has also been greatly reduced, and there is no way to continue to fight against the dark moon goddess. My god, are you alright? At this time, some angels under the command of Lord Stuyue flew over. Where's Jules? Glancing at these angels, Moon Lord Stu asked. Jules is the strongest angel under his command, that is, the angel who descended to the continent of the gods and has the strength of false gods. However, that guy has already been killed by Sumo. Indeed, Jules came to the continent of the gods and was killed by the son of the new moon. The imprint of his soul is still in the reincarnation pool, waiting for the resurrection of the gods. The angel said. What? Lord Stuyue stared, and immediately, he thought of something. Unlock the memory that was sealed by him. With this unlocking, Moon Lord Stu almost vomited out another mouthful of old blood. Damn it. Stu Yuzu is about to explode in place. Before fighting, he sealed these memories, and now he knows it as soon as it is unlocked. The failure of the battle with the Dark Moon Goddess is not the worst thing. The worst thing is that he was not only defeated by the Dark Moon Goddess, but also lost control of the 3rd month, and even the kingdom was taken away. Damn it. Lord Stuart growled. Master Stu, it's all to blame for the son of the new moon. At this time, after several other kingdoms were taken away, extremely unwilling gods came one after another. Although he is unwilling to accept the fact, the failure of Sichu Moonlord has become a foregone conclusion. But they were still not reconciled and wanted to see the attitude of Lord Stu. Several gods, one by one, spoke in front of Lord Stu. Makes the whole thing more complete, such as Sumo's terrifying combat power. For example, the second time came, a few unlucky ghosts who were blown up by Sumo. Lord Stu, if you wish, we can go with you to deal with him. The god of the kingdom of Shima expressed his opinion. Other gods also nodded. Saint son of the new moon. The eyes of Lord Stuyue were full of killing intent. Take away his kingdom, and kill so many angels from him, and make him lose face. He didn't know yet that the drop of divine power used by the Dark Moon Goddess to defeat him also came from Saint son of the new moon. Otherwise, you will be even more angry. But even though the killing intent was boiling, the anger in the body was about to rise to the sky, and Moon Lord Stu did not have a good solution at this time. Totally incompetent rage here, he was seriously injured. What's more, the 7 goddesses of the moon have one heart, and the goddess of the dark moon has already succeeded. Once he dares to come, the goddess of the dark moon will probably come too. Damn it. Lord Stuart is about to explode. This kind of feeling of being so angry that you are going to explode, but you feel helpless to the other party, is not an ordinary uncomfortable feeling. He is a dignified lawman, and one day, he will actually suffer from this anger. Roar. Lord Stuyue couldn't take it anymore, he roared regardless of his image, and attacked another barren star in the distance. Boom. The unfortunate star had endured the wrath of Moon Lord Stu and was smashed to pieces. Ah. But Moon Lord Sichu became more and more angry, and he was full of anger and had nowhere to vent. Beside, looking at Lord Stu, who was about to be exploded, the other gods inexplicably gained some comfort. Sure enough, seeing others unlucky then you will make you feel better. On the 3rd month, finally, the Dark Moon Goddess was completely consolidated. Dark Moon, congratulations. The other 6 goddesses flew forward one after another and expressed their congratulations to the Dark Moon Goddess. Several goddesses chatted for a while. The Dark Moon Goddess thought of Sumo. In this battle, she was able to win, and that drop of divine power given by Sumo played a very important role. Without that drop of divine power, this battle will only become a battle of exhaustion. The probability of the Dark Moon Goddess failure is very high. Even if you can win, the consumption will be extremely large. How about the following situation? Is the Dark Moon Kingdom holding on? Dark Moon Goddess didn't ask Sumo directly. Instead, it asked about the following situation. Before she was fighting with all her strength, she was not distracted to understand at all. In the eyes of the Dark Moon Goddess, defending the Dark Moon Kingdom is already a very good result. After all, the Stu Empire is so powerful that the surrounding kingdoms will also attack the Dark Moon Kingdom under the courage of the Stu Moonlord. Hey, Vera, don't talk yet. Hearing the words of the Dark Moon Goddess, the new Moon Goddess was about to speak, but the Sheui Goddess stopped her. After speaking, the goddess Sheui looked at the goddess of the Dark Moon with great interest, and said, "Dark Moon, guess what is the situation of the following battle? You are not allowed to listen to the prayers of the believers." Guess? Looking at the expression of the goddess Sheui, the goddess of the Dark Moon put down her heart. All in the mood to make her guess, the following battle situation should be good. She also cooperated with goddess Sheui and said, "It must have been kept, right?" Goddess Sheui said, "Dark Moon, it's not just that simple. Not just hold on." The Dark Moon Goddess pondered for a while and said, "Could it be that you have won a few more kingdoms?" This guess is based on the performance of Sumo before. The goddess Sheui said, "Dark Moon, we not only won a few kingdoms, forget it. Let's not sell it. You would never have imagined that He has taken down the Stu Empire." Hearing the words of the goddess Sheui, even the goddess of the Dark Moon, some doubted that he heard it wrong. Mo knocked down the Stu Empire. Dark Moon Goddess looked at Sheui Goddess with a pair of beautiful big eyes and asked. She couldn't believe it subconsciously. The goddess Sheui nodded. "Well, Dark Moon, he not only conquered the Stu Empire, but he also blew up the giant Star Master who forced you to marry him." The words of the goddess Sheui made the eyes of the goddess of the Dark Moon suddenly look surprised. At the same time, there are doubts. Destroy the Stu Empire. And also destroy the giant Star Master? Goddess Sheui, is this making up a story? The Dark Moon Goddess looked at the other goddesses. Dark Moon, it's true, Sheui didn't lie to you. Seeing the inquiring look of the Dark Moon Goddess, the new Moon Goddess slowly told the whole thing. The Dark Moon Goddess listened. When I heard the goddess of the new moon say that Sumo was 1-7, the expression of the goddess of the Dark Moon changed a little. When he heard that Sumo smashed the Star Master of Hook with one blow, the Dark Moon Goddess began to have more surprises in the eyes. Then Sumo launched a counterattack and took down several kingdoms without blood, pointing at the Stu Empire. Even the goddess of the Dark Moon can't help but light up because of Sumo's generous work. From the beginning to the end of this battle, she never thought to deal with the Stu Empire. After all, the gap between the Dark Moon Kingdom and the Stu Empire is a bit big. She couldn't separate again. When she wanted to come, the best result was to defend the Dark Moon Kingdom. I didn't even think of a counterattack, but what Sumo did was far beyond her expectations. Hold? Guard what guard? The war started on the second day, and Sumo won a kingdom. Then go all the way west and take down more kingdoms. Such a battle situation, the Dark Moon Goddess has never even thought about it. It's not over yet. Sumo actually went all out and won the kingdom of Stu. It even made a second-class star vomit blood, and once again blew up several gods. This kind of achievement is terrifying. No other son in history has ever been able to do this. Even the laws of the continent of the gods suppress the gods. But this rule, after all, is still biased towards the side of the gods of the heavens. The power of the sun comes from God. Which son can use the power of God to defeat God? It is impossible to defeat it, let alone knock it out. So, when the new Moon Goddess finished speaking, the beautiful face of the Dark Moon Goddess has been covered with shock. Why is he so powerful? At this moment, Rao, the goddess of the Dark Moon, could not help but take a deep breath. In the beautiful eyes, full of shock. Dark Moon, he used your Dark Moon scar, but I feel that he must have used his trump card. Goddess Sheui added her own observations. Dark Moon scar. The Dark Moon Goddess thought about the divine power and Dark Moon fruit she gave Sumo before the battle. But the supernatural power and Dark Moon fruit she gave Sumo can only guarantee that Sumo can play the peak combat power of false gods for 5 minutes. 5 minutes of the peak combat power of the pseudo-god. It is very difficult to destroy the Star Master of Hook, and then vomit blood for a second-class Star Master. A second-class Star Master, even if he is not an official law powerhouse, can maintain his ultimate combat power for a few minutes in the continent of the gods. The ultimate combat power, to a certain extent, has been infinitely close to the combat power of the true god. Even more terrifying than the combat power exerted by some new gods. So, Sumo can't do all this with the Dark Moon fruit she gave. He should have used his trump card. Why is he so strong? The Dark Moon Goddess couldn't help thinking. This question is actually not the key to her thoughts. She wanted to figure out a question more. Who is he? After all, is it the succubus from 10 years ago? Dark Moon. We promised Mo to help him defend the Stu Empire. He has now changed his name to the Eternal Empire. Yes, Mo also told us his god's name, Eternal God, Dark Moon. Let's help him return to the heaven. Beside, Goddess Sheui and Goddess Yingyue talked again. By the way, Vera, didn't you and Sister Mina say you want to invite Mo to the Kingdom of God? Now that Dark Moon has won, let's have a celebration together, just to invite Mo. At this time, the Goddess of the Morning Moon also spoke. Boom. The huge kingdom of God, Lord Stu, is rapidly moving away from the third month. After the Dark Moon Goddess became the new Moon Lord, the Stu Moon Lord had no place to stay above the third month. Boom. At this time, suddenly, a terrifying attack fell. The kingdom of God, Lord Stu, trembles, Dark Moon Goddess. In the kingdom of God, the voice of Lord Stu Yue gnashing his teeth sounded. You have become the Moon Lord, do you still want to kill me? Kill me? Lord Stuart said angrily. The Dark Moon Goddess did not say a word, and once again launched an attack. Stu Yuzu was beaten extremely angry, and he could only passively respond. Boom. Stu Yue Lord's Kingdom of God was hit, and a lot of buildings in the Kingdom of God were destroyed. PFF'd, in order to protect the Kingdom of God, Stu Yue Lord was hit hard again. Damn it. The Goddess of the Dark Moon, today's revenge, Stu wrote it down. Lord Stuart was extremely angry. In the celestial realm, it is not uncommon to contend for Star Masters and Moon Masters. In such a competition, taking away the opponent's country is generally a routine operation. But after one side wins, the other side generally won't rush to kill. But the Dark Moon Goddess didn't know what happened this time. When he was about to move for the third month, he suddenly attacked him. The Lord Stuart had been badly wounded in the battle. Now, as soon as the Dark Moon Goddess shot, he was seriously injured again. After throwing a sentence, Stu Yue Lord saw that the Dark Moon Goddess was not giving up until she killed him, and decisively used an extremely rare life-saving trump card. Next second, his Kingdom of God took him away from the Kingdom of God where the third month was located. Seeing that Moon Lord Stu used his life-saving trump card to leave, the Dark Moon Goddess did not pursue her. He ran away, Dark Moon, but he was seriously injured, and he will definitely not dare to come to the continent of the gods for a long time. Goddess Sheui said. This time, it was Goddess Sheui's suggestion. However, the Dark Moon Goddess did not hesitate, disregarding her own reputation, and took a shot. An old-fashioned law powerhouse with a lot of trump cards in his hand, to kill the current Dark Moon Goddess is still quite difficult. But the Dark Moon Goddess shot this time made Moon Lord Stu suffer another heavy blow. Just healing takes a lot of time. During these times, Moon Lord Stu would definitely not dare to come to the continent of the gods. Let's go. 55 The Dark Moon Goddess glanced at the place where Moon Lord Stu disappeared and said. The goddesses soon returned to the third month. Vera, just invite him to my Kingdom of God, and I can thank him in person. The Dark Moon Goddess said to the new Moon Goddess. Okay, Dark Moon. The new Moon Goddess replied. Why is the Dark Moon Goddess so powerful? Stu Moon Lord is defeated, and he has to kill them all. Yeah, doesn't she care about her reputation? Who would dare to go to the third month in the future? When Lord Stuart escaped with his life-saving trump card. Near the third month, there were some deities talking. These gods are naturally the gods who come to watch the fun. In the celestial world, many new gods, our lower and middle gods, will come to watch this kind of high-level battle. This is also an opportunity for some new gods to make friends with more gods. They did not expect that the Dark Moon Goddess disregarded some of the rules established by the heavens and killed the Moon Lord Stu. This can greatly affect a god's reputation. Could it be that the Moon Lord Stu took away the kingdom of the 7 moon goddesses, so the Dark Moon Goddess became angry? There are gods guessing. Have you heard? It is said that the kingdom of Lord Stu Yue was taken away, and the kingdoms of many gods around the Dark Moon Kingdom were also taken away. At this time, a gossip that a god will get from nowhere will come. What? How is it possible that the kingdom of Lord Stu has been taken away? Goddess of the Dark Moon is again, and her background is not comparable to Lord Stu. Even if the 7 goddesses of the moon add up, it is impossible to fight against Lord Stu in the continent of gods. This gossip quickly made the surrounding gods not very convinced. Although the goddess of the Dark Moon has won this battle of gods. But on the battlefield of the gods' continent, the Dark Moon Goddess has little chance of winning. Some gods saw that the Dark Moon Goddess made a move, and thought that the Dark Moon Goddess had been taken away from the kingdom, and they became angry. Who can imagine? The one who was taken away from the kingdom was actually Lord Stu. This, of course, does not seem so real. This is true. My people have just received news from Hookstar. Hookstar Lord has fallen because of participating in the war, and only a little will is left, and I don't know where to flee, and now several upper gods are competing for Hookstar. Hey! The Hookstar Lord has fallen. He is the upper god. How did he fall? It is said that he was blown up by the son of the new moon goddess on the battlefield between the Dark Moon Kingdom and the Stu Empire. The son of the new moon goddess. The surrounding gods who were watching the lively heard the news and felt even more incredible. A son of a god who blew up an upper god. You look at me, I look at you, and I don't believe in these gods. The goddess of the new moon is still the pinnacle of the Median god. Is her holy son so strong? Unlikely. If you say that the Dark Moon Goddess secretly went down and destroyed the Hookstar Lord, I would believe it. Holy son? Impossible. Yes, even if it is the holy son and holy daughter of the Lord of Power, it can carry several kinds of false gods in the middle and late stages. We can barely deal with it when we go down. It is impossible for the holy son to destroy the descending upper gods. The surrounding gods all made a sound of doubt. Although these gods are generally not very strong. Most are still new gods, are lower gods. The median gods are rarely here. After all, the median gods are stronger, let them be with some new gods. Some drop in price. But these gods still have eyesight. Everyone knows that it is almost impossible for the Holy Sun to destroy the gods. In particular, the Blaster is still a powerful upper god. A third-class Star Master. Not even the son and daughter of the Lord of Power can do it. How could a holy child of the new moon goddess at the peak of the median god be able to do it? To be honest, I don't believe it either, but the news seems to be true. It is said that the holy son of the new moon killed several gods with one enemy against 7. Another god got the news, said. Soon, these gods discovered that the news about the son of the new moon was spreading rapidly. Not to mention spreading it to the entire heaven, a large number of gods know the news in this god's domain where the third month is located in the nearby god's domain. How can a holy son be so strong? Some gods still don't believe. But there are also some gods who vaguely feel that it may be true. If this is true, Moon Lord Stu is too miserable, not only lost the position of Moon Lord, but also lost the kingdom, and was seriously injured by the Dark Moon Goddess. The son of the new moon. This son is not easy, I wish I had such a son. For a while, the name of the new moon Holy Sun also gained a lot of popularity in the heavens. Believe it or not, many gods know about it. In the heavens, it also attracted the attention of many gods. Moon Lord Stu won't come again for a long time, you don't have to stay there all the time. In the heavens, when the name of the son of the new moon spread. In the capital of the Eternal Empire, the goddess of the new moon is connected with Sumo through the divine sound stone. In the past 2 days, under the means of Princess Anne, who was eager to prove her worth, the Eternal Empire stabilized very quickly. A large number of hidden dangers were removed. These hidden dangers mainly come from some devout believers of Lord Stu. Princess Anne takes what Sumo offers. As long as you report a devout follower of Lord Stu, if you report one, you can get an extra acre of land. The temptation of an acre of land is too great. As a result, the enthusiasm of the public to report is high. In order to keep the royal family, Princess Anne's methods can be said to be quite sharp. On the whole, the Eternal Empire has completely stabilized. The mentality of ordinary people is changing very fast. They all embrace the new eternal god. After all, it was the god who gave them their own land. Sumo also took this opportunity to clean up the nobles in the Eternal Empire, and many nobles were forced to hand over a large amount of land. A dozen or so hidden villains were cleared out. In general, the current Eternal Empire has no problems. The only thing you need to pay attention to is Lord Stu. Dark Moon shot Moon Lord Stu, he was seriously injured and won't run out for a long time. In the space of the divine sound stone, the goddess of the new moon will give Sumo the general situation. Now, the new moon goddess has little to hide from Sumo. After finishing these things, the goddess of the new moon talked about the business of this trip. We are going to celebrate in the divine kingdom of the dark moon. Everyone wants to invite you to the heavenly realm. How about I come to pick you up early tomorrow morning? The goddess of the new moon looked at Sumo and officially initiated the invitation. Sumo pondered for a while and said, okay. Then you go back to the Dark Moon Kingdom first. I will let them prepare the reception ceremony, and I will pick you up at the Temple of the Dark Moon early tomorrow morning." Seeing Sumo's promise, the new moon goddess was very happy, said. Now, in front of Sumo, she will no longer hide her emotions. After the discussion, the goddess of the new moon left happily. Sumo also quietly left the Eternal Empire. In the Eternal Empire, there are currently several angels in charge at any time. Once there is any situation, the new moon goddess and the others can also come quickly, but don't worry. Soon, Sumo returned to the Dark Moon Kingdom. Early the next morning, the introduction ceremony was held early. After taking a bath and changing clothes, Sumo came to the temple of the goddess of the Dark Moon. Soon, the goddess of the new moon descended. "Mo, I'll take you up." The goddess of the new moon looked at Sumo and said. She took the initiative to stretch out her hand. "Mo, grab my hand." Sumo caught the hand of the goddess of the crescent moon. The new moon goddess's face was a little red. This is her body. Although Sumo had shaken her hand before, it was a projection after all. "Let's go. The goddess of the new moon has opened the channel." She protects Sumo with strength and crosses the passage in one fell swoop. Once you go through it, it's like entering another world. Entering a kingdom of gods filled with holy light. Here is the divine kingdom of the Dark Moon Goddess. "Mo, here we are," the new moon goddess said softly beside her. Sumo looked at this kingdom of gods, the entire kingdom of gods, like the inside of a huge sphere. In the kingdom of God, there are a large number of islands or palaces floating in the air. There is a very clear lake at the bottom. It looks beautiful, like in a fairyland. "Ink is coming, Mo, you are welcome." When the other goddesses saw Sumo coming, they flew over. The goddess of the morning moon is the most lively and the first to arrive. Then there is the goddess of the Sheui, the goddess of the silver moon, and the goddess of the holy moon. The goddess of the dark moon, at the end. Although they had met Sumo long ago, it was the first time that Tianjie saw Sumo. Each goddess warmly welcomed Sumo. After Sumo greeted several goddesses one by one, he looked at the goddess of the dark moon. "Mo, you are welcome." The dark moon goddess also welcomed Sumo's arrival. Her superficial attitude is not too enthusiastic like other goddesses. But her heart is not very calm. Because after Sumo appeared in her kingdom of God, after her body met Sumo. That familiar feeling is simply overwhelming. Let the dark moon goddess feel a little dazed. She had to stabilize her emotions. It didn't show any abnormal. "Come on. Let's go to the island in the middle." The goddess of the morning moon said. Soon, Sumo came to an island floating in the air in the middle of the kingdom of God. The island is full of flowers. "Mo, Dark Moon's divine kingdom is very beautiful, but my divine kingdom is not bad either. You must be a guest in my divine kingdom after a while." Once on the island, the goddess of the morning moon ran to Sumo's side and said. Her words are also the most, but her voice is very pleasant, and it is very comfortable to listen to. "Mo, try this." The goddess Sheui handed Sumo a fruit. Sumo took it and took a bite. "How about it?" Goddess Sheui asked. Sumo, "It's delicious." The goddess Sheui immediately smiled and said, "Mo, this is planted in my kingdom of God. If you like it, I will pick it up for you." Ink, the goddess of the moon is here again and invites Sumo to taste a nectar. This is the honey collected by a special kind of bee she keeps in the kingdom of God. This kind of bee is different from ordinary bees. They belong to a kind of celestial creatures and can enter and exit some dangerous places. This is the flower god honey, and every 10 years, the purple jade bee has the opportunity to enter the god domain of the flower gods to collect honey. The moon goddess said. Sumo tasted it, and the nectar was really good. If you are an ordinary person, you only need a small spoon to eliminate most diseases and prolong your life. But such honey is also extremely precious, and the moon goddess herself does not have much. Mo, try this. The silver moon goddess also came and gave Sumo a taste of a small fruit. For a while, in the kingdom of the dark moon goddess, several goddesses surrounded Sumo. Give Sumo some rare things produced in his kingdom of God to taste. Beside, the dark moon goddess watched silently. She did not expect that Sumo would be so popular. Judging from the looks of the goddesses, they really like being around Sumo. After the battle with the Stu Empire, the goddesses were very sure of Sumo's identity. The former Sumo must be very powerful. But the goddess of the dark moon found that the goddesses were not trying to please Sumo, or to curry favor. No matter how powerful the gods are, it is also a thing of the past. The goddesses are not going to flatter anyone because of this. If you really want to flatter, wouldn't the existing giants in the heavens be better targets? They wouldn't do such a thing. They seem to really like sumo. Yes, just like it. This kind of love is not even a love, or something. It can't be said to be between men and women. It's just like, there is a kind of magic in sumo, the goddesses will feel better when they see sumo. Then you can't help but want to get closer. This morning, before sumo entered the kingdom of God, the goddesses were looking forward to it. A lot of good things are prepared one by one. Moreover, the goddesses, who were so perfect in their manners and dresses, even subconsciously looked at their manners before sumo arrived. This is very rare. The goddesses do love beauty, but they maintain their perfect posture at all times. Even if they go to some famous divine cities in the heaven, they will not be like this time. So far, sumo has entered the kingdom of God. The goddesses surrounded sumo one by one. This party was originally a celebration for the dark moon goddess. Sumo. But became the protagonist. The dark moon goddess will naturally not be angry or the like. Because of her attention, almost all of it is on sumo. Familiarity grows stronger. Sumo's face, she was so impressed. However, there is a key difference between this face and the one I remembered 10 years ago, but it still cannot be bypassed. Mo, you will return to the heaven in the future, you can first settle in the 3rd month, and you can live in our kingdom of God. Yes, rebuilding the kingdom of God is a huge project, but we can all help you. The goddesses surrounded Sumo, and Yin Yin Yan Yan started talking. The fragrant wind bursts. If it were another man, surrounded by a few extremely perfect goddesses, I would probably be dizzy, and I would be so happy that I would even forget my surname. Sumo naturally won't lose his temper. In fact, he took the opportunity to pick up attributes a few times. The bodies of the goddesses naturally provide more attributes, and the harvest is not small. Not only that, the system of eating soft rice is giving rewards again and again. This system, it seems that as long as you eat soft rice, whether it is active or passive, it will give rewards. Sumo glanced at the villain panel. Ding, you have successfully eaten the soft meal of the Holy Moon Goddess. The system reward has been cleared, and the system will replenish the reward after the next refresh. Ding, you have successfully eaten the soft meal of the Silver Moon Goddess. The system reward has been cleared, and the system will replenish the reward after the next refresh. Ding. The prompt of eating soft rice system keeps appearing. Good guy. Looking at so many rewards, but in fact, this system is actually playing white bars. The white bar system. See you for the first time. The system of eating soft rice is probably very broken. What can I do? I'm just a silver level rubbish. Alright. Sumo understands too. No way, who made this system a silver level? Sumo's soft rice object. The level of power is so high. The 7 goddesses, the weakest, are currently at the peak of the median god. Just a short throw away, you can become the upper god. Seeing that the eating soft fan system has been playing white bars there, Sumo can't stand it. Anyway, the hero value of the Lord system is not enough to upgrade the legendary level, so Sumo spent 5,000 villain points to upgrade the soft rice system to the gold level. Ding. Your reward has been made up, you got the demigod potion too. Ding. Your reward has been made up, you have obtained a demigod skill 1. Ding. Your reward has been made up, you get. Ding. Your reward has been made up, the high-level rewards are not enough, and the middle and low-level rewards will be used to make up. Well, the premium rewards are starting to be insufficient again. The gold level system seems to be unbearable. But finally made up for the previous rewards. Counting the rewards in the legendary Krypton gold system, Sumo can quickly cultivate several demigods. The 2 cat ears are almost at the sanctuary. The strength of the new moon goddess is also about to reach a demigod. Although these rewards can quickly improve the strength, it will take some time after all. It is impossible to use them all at once. Just like medicine, no matter how good the effect is, you can't eat a lot at once, right? After receiving the rewards, the goddesses were still circling Sumo. Sumo chatted with the goddesses, and it happened that he could learn more about the situation in the heaven. This is the kingdom of the dark moon goddess. The environment in the heavens, from the eyes of an ordinary person, is actually very bad. In many places in the heavens there is not even air. Like on the moon, the temperature is very low for ordinary people. If you use the knowledge of another world to analyze, there are still many rays that are harmful to ordinary people in the heaven. Let an ordinary person barbecue in minutes. Some creatures in the heavens are too dangerous for ordinary people. Ordinary people are basically unable to survive in the heaven. Except in the kingdom of God. or in the form of a soul body. Sumo didn't ask too much, but the goddesses were positive. Especially the goddess Sheui, who loves brain tonic, and the goddess of the morning moon like a teenage girl. In their opinion, the heaven before Sumo's reincarnation was definitely very different from the current heaven. Then he told Sumo some of the situation in the heaven. This celebration of the goddesses, from morning to night, has completely turned into a welcome party, centered on Sumo. Sumo has become the group pet of the 7 goddesses of the moon. As a result, the dark moon goddess found that from morning to night, except at the beginning, she had no chance to say a word to Sumo. The one who talks most to Sumo is the goddess of the morning moon. She also insisted on taking Sumo abroad to see the scenery of the 3rd month. Then, the goddess Sheui and the goddess Shungyue, the holy moon goddess, also discussed with Sumo a lot of governance issues in the realm of time. The other goddesses followed suit. Whenever Sumo puts forward some novel ideas, the goddess of the morning moon can make a wow sound. Such a lovely and beautiful goddess. One day later, she has become a little girly. Because there are too many myths about the goddess of the morning moon and the goddess of the moon, even the goddess of the new moon is a little helpless. I wanted to say a few more words to Sumo, but I couldn't do it. The character of the new moon goddess is not too lively, and belongs to the pure white moonlight type goddess. The goddess of the morning moon is the most lively among the goddesses, and the one who does not hide her emotions. Watching the goddesses surround Sumo like this, I always feel that Sumo is extremely familiar, and it is very likely that she is the succubus who had that relationship with her 10 years ago. Don't know why. The dark moon goddess, who has always been cold, actually had some sour feelings in her heart. This feeling also made her quite strange. No way, she has never been in love, and she has never been exposed to this knowledge. Otherwise, she will surely know that there is a word called jealous. Hey, it's nighttime. Before you know it, a day has passed. It's nighttime. In the celestial realm, the sun can no longer be seen, and the moon rises one after another into the sky. Yeah, time flies so fast. Mo, since you're here in the heavenly realm, let's stay a little longer, and rest in my divine kingdom at night. The goddess of the morning moon was the first to invite Sumo. It's okay to go to my kingdom of God, just right. I have a few questions that I want to ask Mo. Goddess Sheui also spoke. As she spoke, her big eyes flashed and she looked very smart. Let Mo decide for himself. Mo, you can stay in the heaven for a few days before you will be rejected. Why don't you stay in the heaven for a few more days? The goddess of the new moon looked at Sumo and said. Sumo pondered for a while, and said, it's okay too. Hearing Sumo's promise, several goddesses were a little happy. After getting along for a day today, they found more bright spots in Sumo, and they all hope that Sumo can stay for a few more days. Mo, at night, we usually go back to our respective kingdoms of gods to rest, and we can also absorb the energy of the moon. Our kingdoms of gods welcome you, and you can continue to be here in the dark moon. The goddess of the new moon explained. This is leaving the choice to Sumo. Although she also wants Sumo to be a guest in her kingdom of God, after all, Sumo is in name, but her holy son. But the goddesses are very enthusiastic, and the new moon goddess is not easy to force. Let Mo be here tonight. Thanks to Mo this time, I want to use the dark moon energy to nourish Mo's body. At this time, the voice of the dark moon goddess sounded. After the whole day, the dark moon goddess didn't have a chance to talk to Sumo. If she doesn't speak again, it is estimated that Sumo will be taken away by other goddesses. Although he was only resting in the other party's kingdom of God, after the dark moon goddess succeeded this time, the doubts buried in her heart became stronger and stronger. Before, in order not to affect the battle with Moon Lord Stu, she was reluctant to go too deep into it. Now, the dark moon goddess has become the Moon Lord. She wanted to figure it out. I wonder if Sumo is the same person as the succubus from 10 years ago. Mo. What do you mean? The goddess of the crescent moon looked at Sumo and asked for Sumo's opinion. Sumo glanced at the dark moon goddess. The dark moon goddess was inexplicably nervous, for fear that Sumo would not agree. Okay. Just follow the dark moon goddess, it's the same everywhere. But Sumo agreed. Seeing Sumo's promise, the dark moon goddess breathed a sigh of relief, but another kind of tension inexplicably grew in her heart. That's it, Mo, we'll come back tomorrow. When the goddesses saw that Sumo decided to stay in the kingdom of the dark moon goddess, they prepared to leave one by one. Under normal circumstances, at night, they will return to their own kingdom of God. Because every night, they will open the kingdom of God and let the kingdom of God absorb the energy in the moonlight. Under the circumstance that the kingdom of gods is opened, if they do not sit in their positions, there may still be some dangers. Mo. See you tomorrow. The goddesses left the kingdom of the Dark Moon Goddess one after another. Not long after, in the kingdom of the Dark Moon Goddess, only Dark Moon Goddess and Sumo are left. And some angels. The angels of the Dark Moon Goddess are all female. A large number of little angels are flying around, preparing to extend some plants out of the kingdom of God in order to absorb some energy in special moments. Bessie, don't open the kingdom of God tonight, you all go to rest. The Dark Moon Goddess called over a little angel and said, "Okay, goddess." The little angel did not ask why, and after respectfully replied, he conveyed the order of the Dark Moon Goddess. So, in the kingdom of God, many angels went to rest in some palaces on the island below. With a slight movement of the Dark Moon Goddess' hand, the light of the entire divine kingdom also dimmed. The holy light that illuminated the kingdom of God disappeared. The crystal wall of the kingdom of God seems to have also become translucent, allowing you to see the bright starry sky outside. The moonlight of the third month penetrated from the outside, giving the kingdom of God some faint light. The entire kingdom of God also fell into the night from this. After the Dark Moon Goddess did all this, she looked at Sumo. "Mo, come with me," the Dark Moon Goddess said. After speaking, she walked towards the palace in the middle of the island. Sumo followed. After a while, he entered the palace. There is not much light in the palace, it is still the kind of moonlight that belongs to the dark moon. Gives a cool feeling. But it is filled with a special energy, which should be the dark moon energy used by the goddess of the dark moon. When Sumo entered the palace, the gate of the palace was closed. In the palace, only Sumo and the Dark Moon Goddess were left. The Dark Moon Goddess stopped a few meters away from Sumo. Seeing her stop, Sumo also stopped. After stopping, the Dark Moon Goddess stood there. From the background, her figure is incomparably slender and evoking. In terms of pure appearance, the Dark Moon Goddess is indeed the tallest among the 7 moon goddesses. Her temperament is cool. There are some differences from the iceberg beauty type of the Silver Moon Goddess. It gives people the feeling that she is like a woman who is alone in front of the window under the moonlight in the middle of the night, under the cold moonlight, thinking of her lover. This kind of temperament, although there is a sense of distance. But if you look closely, there is a feeling that I still feel pity and want to take care of it. Now. The Dark Moon Goddess stood in front of Sumo just like that. Just a back figure, I don't know how many people will be fascinated to death. I don't know what she was thinking, she has not spoken. It seems to be hesitating, it seemed that he was struggling inside. Sumo stood behind her, silently watching her back. Compared to 10 years ago, the current Dark Moon Goddess has returned to her peak state, and she has gone one step further. 10 years ago, she looked weak and helpless, with hesitation and confusion on her face. At that time, she was almost completely eroded by the power of the abyss. She didn't want to be a demon, but she had no choice. As a celestial spirit, she ventured into the abyss in order to find a way to remove the power of the abyss. But it was hit hard by the demon gods in the abyss. Under the serious injury, she can be described as despairing, and she has no hope at all. So, every day at that time, she would always curl up there, holding her knees in a daze. Like a fragile bird. Now she is completely different. She has re-emerged as a powerful celestial goddess. It also goes a step further. From the upper god, he entered the realm of law in one fell swoop, and became a law powerhouse comparable to the innate gods. Now, he firmly holds the position of Moon Lord of the third month in his hands. It can be said that the Dark Moon Goddess has reached the pinnacle of her life. But such a Dark Moon Goddess is nervous and tangled at this time. Inside, I am still struggling. She wanted to ask, but inexplicably did not dare to speak. What if not? If it wasn't? She wouldn't be so nervous. The reason for her nervousness comes from another possibility. Just in case. Yes. The Dark Moon Goddess took a deep breath. There seems to be a decision. She turned around and said, "Mo, I want to use the Dark Moon divine power to strengthen your body. It should help you return to the heavens as soon as possible, okay?" Her voice sounded very calm. Sumo said, "Okay." Seeing Sumo's promise, the Dark Moon Goddess's slender hand drew a mysterious trajectory. Above this palace, some divine patterns also began to appear. These divine patterns lit up and gradually disappeared. Then, Sumo felt a cool, yet extremely comfortable energy entering his body. He did not resist, nor did he prevent the possible probe of this energy. Under the circumstance that the blood of the sacred succubus is completely hidden, at this stage, a master of power may not be able to detect any problems. However, the Dark Moon Goddess doesn't seem to have any intention of exploring. She seemed to be serious about strengthening her body for Sumo. Mo, your physical strength is stronger than I thought, almost reaching the level of a divine body. The voice of the Dark Moon Goddess rang again. Sumo gave a hum. She continued to introduce the Dark Moon energy and cooperated with her divine power to continuously strengthen the body for Sumo. However, the stronger it is, the more surprised the Dark Moon Goddess will be. Because Sumo's body is a little too strong. The bodies of some demigods are far inferior to Sumo's body. Demigods do not yet have a divine body. For some Dharma gods, their bodies are actually relatively fragile. Even under the nourishment of magic, the lifespan is longer, but it is far from being as strong as Sumo. Such a body, it seems that only a demon can have it. But the Dark Moon Goddess didn't detect a shred of demonic energy, perhaps aura, in Sumo's body. At this moment, the Dark Moon Goddess couldn't help but have some doubts. Did she really make a mistake? Sumo. Really just a reincarnation of a powerful deity from the past who just happened to be exactly the same as the succubus from 10 years ago? But the familiarity is too strong. What's more, the woman's intuition tells her, it's him. The Dark Moon Goddess did not speak anymore. After more than an hour, she finally spent a lot of divine power to strengthen Sumo's body. Is that all right, Goddess? Sumo asked. Okay. The Dark Moon Goddess said. Thank you, Goddess, then I'll go to rest. Sumo said. After speaking, he turned around and prepared to leave. And many more. The Dark Moon Goddess couldn't help it anymore and called Sumo. Sumo turned around. The Dark Moon Goddess calmed down, looked at Sumo's eyes, and said, Mo, you are very similar to a person I met 10 years ago. Sumo said, really? The Dark Moon Goddess's eyes did not leave Sumo's eyes, and then continued. 10 years ago, I met him in the abyss. He was a succubus. At that time, he had just become a demon king. He saved me. Speaking of which, she paused for a moment. Abyss, succubus, demon king. The Dark Moon Goddess said this. It was almost equivalent to a showdown. Sumo made another "oh" and said, Goddess, then what? There was a hint of memory in the eyes of the Dark Moon Goddess. She said, then I spent 10 days in his castle. Sumo made another "oh" sound. The Dark Moon Goddess looked at Sumo, and said with affirmation in her tone, Mo, although I don't know how you did it, I trust my intuition, you are him. Mo, although I don't know how you did it, I trust my intuition, you are him. The voice of the Dark Moon Goddess reverberated in this palace. Her eyes were bright and there was confidence in her. It seemed that she had decided that Sumo was the succubus from 10 years ago. So, the goddess thinks, I'm a devil? Sumo said lightly. His expression didn't change much. However, the Dark Moon Goddess seems to be more certain. She trusted her instincts. The Dark Moon Goddess spoke again. Mo, did Vera tell you why I went to the abyss? Sumo looked at her. Why? Sumo knew why, but it wasn't what the Crescent Moon Goddess told him. After all, the use of abyss energy by the Dark Moon Goddess is too important, and only 7 goddesses know about it. The Dark Moon Goddess looked at Sumo and said, because I used abyss energy. She admitted it herself, or admit it in front of Sumo. A celestial deity, or a law powerhouse comparable to an innate deity, he himself admits that he uses abyss energy. If this news spreads out, the Sichu Moon Lord, who was severely injured by her, will probably laugh out loud. Even the Lord of Power will be attracted. At that time, whether she can leave the heaven alive or not is a question. In the celestial world, if it is the fall of a new god, it will not cause too much attention from a high level. But the fall of the law powerhouse is a big problem. Therefore, the showdown of the Dark Moon Goddess this time is more thorough. Isn't the goddess afraid that I will speak out? Sumo said. The Dark Moon Goddess walked over slowly. The distance with Sumo keeps getting closer. Soon, she came to a place just over a meter away from Sumo. The light in the palace is also getting darker. The faint moonlight shone down, casting a dreamlike brilliance on the beautiful face of the Dark Moon Goddess. The Dark Moon Goddess's eyes softened, as if there was a pool of autumn water in her eyes. Mo, don't you admit it? The Dark Moon Goddess looked at Sumo and said softly. Look at the Dark Moon Goddess in front of her. Sumo sighed. The goddess has become a law, she controls the 3rd month, and the future has a bright future. Why are you persistent? The Dark Moon Goddess did not answer Sumo's question, but thought of something. Mo, don't move. After speaking, her fingers moved slightly. In this palace, it was getting darker and darker. Then, the goddess of the Dark Moon came to the front of Sumo. She bent down and put her ear to Sumo's chest. Goddess. Do not talk. The Dark Moon Goddess won't let Sumo talk. Then, she heard Sumo's strong heartbeat. The familiar feeling grew stronger. After listening to this quietly for dozens of seconds, the Dark Moon Goddess smiled. Mo, you are him. She stood up. The smile on her face was extremely bright, and even her eyes were full of joy. It seems that the identity of Sumo has been affirmed, which is a very happy thing for her. Seeing the expression of the Dark Moon Goddess, Sumo said, "Why is the goddess so sure?" At this time, the Dark Moon Goddess had a sense of agility. She said, "Heartbeat and taste. Sumo, taste?" The Dark Moon Goddess's eyes seemed to be filled with stars. "Well, it's the smell. Only a woman can smell the smell. The power in you can be changed, but your taste can't be changed. Mo, don't deny it anymore." Sumo said lightly, "Goddess, have I denied it?" The Dark Moon Goddess was startled, as if, from beginning to end, Sumo never denied it. Of course, he didn't admit it. The Dark Moon Goddess asked, "So, have you admitted it?" Sumo said, "According to the goddess, if I am really a devil, what will the goddess do with me as a devil?" What to do with Sumo? Dark Moon Goddess looks at Sumo. Suddenly, she said, "Mo, I'm sorry." "Sorry?" Sumo looked at her. 4 eyes facing each other. "Goddess, why do you say sorry?" Sumo asked. "Why apologize?" Dark Moon Goddess's thoughts returned to 10 years ago. It was an unforgettable 10 days for her. After becoming a goddess for thousands of years, although most of the time, she has silently accumulated strength in the kingdom of God, but she has experienced a lot. But there is not one thing that she has experienced in 1,000 years, and the experience of those 10 days has left her deep memory. Those 10 days were the 10 days when she was most helpless and confused. She was seriously injured in the abyss, and her power was about to be completely polluted. Once the power is polluted, the Xinsheng will gradually change accordingly. At that time, she will fall from a celestial god to darkness and become an incomparably evil abyss demon. Moreover, she will become more evil than other abyss demon gods. There is also a % chance of losing yourself. At that time, she did not see a glimmer of hope. After being rescued by Sumo, he was just like a walking corpse, spending most of the day in a daze. In this daze, her eyes fell on the succubus beside her unconsciously. That succubus was a male. The male succubus, it seems, has never appeared. This succubus slowly attracted her attention. Soon, perhaps because of the helplessness of despair, she slowly discovered that being around this succubus seemed to be able to calm her mind. This succubus also seems to have a magic power. Let her feel the extraordinary of each other. The opponent is a demon, but it is different from all the demons in the abyss. She quietly observed, and soon, this succubus occupied all her mind. Slowly, she found that the succubus made her feel more and more special. It is so special that in the long years, she has never been attracted to any opposite sex. Actually, got a heartbeat, even she was thinking. If it is really irreversible and falls into the abyss, it seems not bad to be by this succubus like this. But she is unwilling to go against her beliefs and become a devil after all. Until the 10th day. The other party was about to send her away. The Dark Moon Goddess has also made a decision. She was about to return to the heaven and enter the heavenly sun with a surface temperature of several 100,000 degrees. Prepare to burn yourself with the flames of the sun in the depths of the sun. She wants to burn all the abyss power in her body. Even with her, there is a 0.9% probability of being burned out together. This is almost a sending proposition. The chances of her surviving are too low. But she didn't want to live. So, on the last night, she gave herself to the only succubus in her life that moved her heart. But that night, the final result was beyond her expectations. She did not expect, nor did she expect that after that incident, the abyss power in her body that had always made her helpless was actually absorbed by that succubus perfectly. In fact, during that process, her whole body was in the cloud and she didn't even realize it. It was not until the next day, when she woke up, that she realized that her body had already lost the power of the abyss. All hidden dangers seemed to have been eliminated. Not only that, after the hidden danger was eliminated, she faintly felt that she seemed to be able to touch the power of the law. In other words, not only the hidden danger is gone, but she can also make great progress from this. This discovery puzzled her. At the same time, it gave her renewed hope. She doesn't seem to have to go to the sun anymore. It seems that I can become that radiant goddess again. She looked at Sumo, who was still sleeping. Thinking of the crazy night, her face turned red. When she saw each other, inexplicably, she didn't want to leave. It seems, just like that in the abyss is fine too. So, she put her head on the other's chest and silently listened to the other's heartbeat. 1 minute, 2 minutes, a full half an hour passed. Finally, she raised her head again. Stand up. She chose to be her own goddess, she also had no choice. Now she has no abyss power in her body. Once her power is restored, she will not be able to stay in the abyss. After a reluctant glance at the familiar Sumo, she quietly left here. Her sentence, "I'm sorry," was actually said for herself 10 years ago. Although, she never promised Sumo anything, even 10 years ago, she and Sumo never said a word. There was nothing wrong with her choice. If you replace it with any celestial god, you will make that choice. But she still felt that she was clearly moved, but she finally made another choice that went against her heart. In the past 10 years, she has devoted herself to cultivation, and finally entered the realm of law in one fell swoop. Become a powerful law powerhouse. After going through the matter of the Hook Star Master, she understood that only a strong force can gain a foothold in the heavenly realm. As for that succubus, although the other party appeared in her mind from time to time, there was no way for her now. She couldn't go to the abyss again. It is even more impossible to bring the other party to the heaven. The other party is just a demon king, and the holy light in the kingdom of God can melt the other party. Until she sees Sumo, her heart was a little messed up. Before the battle of the gods began, she stopped her own exploration. Until now, after becoming the Moon Lord, thoughts returned to the present. The dark moon goddess looked at Sumo in front of her and said, "Mo, no matter what your identity is, no matter what your past is, I will help you, just like how you saved me back then." There was also a firm look in her eyes. Looking at such a dark moon goddess, Sumo sighed, and finally had a move. He took a step forward, came in front of the dark moon goddess. The height of the dark moon goddess is about 1.7 meters, which is a very suitable height for women. The tall Sumo, at this distance, made the dark moon goddess only raise her head to be able to see his face. Then, Sumo hugged the dark moon goddess gently. The delicate body of the dark moon goddess trembled slightly. Although Sumo didn't speak or admit it, this action has been able to explain everything. Her hands also hugged Sumo. Bury his head in the sweat of Sumo's right shoulder. A strong masculine breath came over him. The face of the dark moon goddess was also stained with a layer of blush. The heartbeat is also a little faster. After cuddling like this for a few minutes, Sumo lifted the dark moon goddess's head up. This time, it's his turn to take the initiative.